Hey guys, Pyker here, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Play KSP Career Mode. In today's episode, if this thing doesn't wobble to pieces, we are taking this to the moon, and we have two separate probes on it, and we're going to land those on the moon and gather as much science as we can without actually endangering any Kerbals. So we're going to actually test how this thing goes. I just built this rocket, so whether or not it actually works is a completely different story. Now we are going to go ahead and throttle up 2/3 of the way. SAS is already on, and we are going to launch in 3, 2, 1, go. So I decided instead of endangering a Kerbal for the first moon landing, we would actually take probes and land two separate probes at two separate locations to gather as much science as possible instead of landing Jebediah on the surface of the moon and maybe not being able to return him home. So what we're going to do instead is use expendable probes, and hopefully this will gather us enough science that we can actually get proper solar panels, because we have yet to actually get proper solar panels, and those are way nicer than just the ones that you stick on the side of your rockets. I hope that those things can actually charge, because I mean I don't know. I mean, they should be able to. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I really want to get those fold away solar panels, because they're just so much better. Whoa! All my engines fell off. There are no engines on the bottom of these outside rockets. So yes, something did break. So we're gonna try this again. I've never seen that happen before. That's awesome. Wow, that's funny. I've honestly never seen, like, I just lifted off and all my engines didn't come with me apparently. That's amazing. Hopefully hopefully they'll work this time. Let the shuttle settle there for a second. Yep. T, and we're launching. Go. Alright, we have our engines with us this time. Jeez. Oh man, that's a good start. I was looking at the staging and there was no engines over here. I was like, what the? Maybe if I just press space, it'll be fine. And then when I pressed space, nothing happened, and I looked down and there were no engines. Awesome. Well, this time we have engines. What was that all about? Oh well. Alright, well, we're going to attempt to make this a quick episode. I hope, anyways. But I want to get these probes on the surface of the moon. And hopefully get this thing into orbit, because it is pretty heavy. So, I mean, and there's two extra, basically, small spacecrafts on this, but I do have a lot of fuel. At least I believe in my head that I have a lot of fuel. Now, whether I actually do or not, I don't know. But we're gonna attempt, let's get rid of those SRBs, attempt to get into orbit with all this weight, but we should have plenty of fuel, because this whole stage right here is with this one engine. So I'm hoping that that'll be more than enough fuel to get us into orbit and into orbit around the moon. I haven't actually tested it yet, so this should be, I mean, we should be able to make it work. I don't see why we wouldn't. But I'm gonna actually probably start tipping over here pretty soon, even though we are not gaining very much altitude very quickly, unfortunately. As soon as we get out of the first layer of the atmosphere, I'll start tipping over, but I hope we have enough thrust to weight ratio, or we have a good thrust to weight ratio, because I have not been paying attention, and I just kind of built this this rocket on the fly, so hopefully it works. But yeah, so that's pretty much the aim for this episode. We're going to attempt to get this thing into orbit, and then I'll probably end up cutting you guys out and bringing you back once we get into orbit around the moon, because you guys have seen me do enough maneuver nodes and encounters with the moon. So as soon as we get to that point, I'll probably end up chopping this video up a little bit, mainly just to keep it short. I don't want to, hold on a second, let's get rid of those. Don't need them anymore. Now we have 3 engines instead of 4, and whoa, this thing's a little wobbly. Hopefully I have enough struts on there to keep it stable. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much the aim. The aim for this episode is basically to land these two probes inside craters, and Jebediah is basically just the human aspect of this entire spacecraft. He's basically gonna get the whole spacecraft into orbit around the moon, and then just set up and then detach one probe at a time, land them on the surface remotely, and then try to then probably just send Jebediah back home. That's the aim so far, anyways. At least that's what's going to happen in my head, or at least that's what I hope happens. We're going to try to gain as much horizontal velocity as we possibly can. The more horizontal velocity, the better, in my opinion. So hopefully this will do the trick. But yeah, so I think after we get these probes on the surface, hopefully they have enough fuel, because they have just the tiny small little fuel tank with them. It should be enough to land, and that's about it. They may or may not have enough fuel to actually pick up and go and land somewhere else to gather more science, and they only have one science module on them, which is the materials bay. I was gonna put the mystery goo on them, but I decided against it because I couldn't really make them symmetrical, and I just have a feeling that if I didn't make them symmetrical, they were going to be impossible to land and fly, because I just had a feeling that it was just going to give me a hard time. I know it was going to give me a hard time. Oh, don't hit anything. Oh, there we go. All right, throttle all the way up. We are. Let's see where we're at here. What's our apoaps at? That's pretty good. 65 kilometers. That's not terrible. And we still have this entire thing of fuel left to get us into orbit and out to the moon and back, or not back, but out to the moon at least. Hopefully, anyways. So once we get into this thing into orbit, I'll probably end up cutting you guys out, and I'll bring you back in whenever we start hitting up to the moon. But until then, let's get this thing into orbit. So let's actually tip all the way over, since we are at a reasonable altitude now, about 60 kilometers, which makes me feel a little bit safer. We have about 800 meters per second of delta V to gain yet to actually get into orbit around Kerbal. And I'm not really sure. I guess I could. Let's do a crew report. See what's going on here. Scientific value 1.3, which is nothing, but we can transmit it through one of the antenna on our probes. And we'll probably end up doing that. I want to keep this episode a little bit short, because we are doing a lot in this episode. So let's actually cut our engines right now and fast forward a bit to our apoaps to get more of a what's the word I'm looking for? A more efficient burn to get into orbit. All right, so let's throttle all the way back up here. We got about 500 meters per second of left to gain to get into orbit, which we should be able to do without any trouble. I'm hoping that we won't have to use Jebediah's last stage at all to get into orbit around the moon. Even if we have to just do a flyby the moon and dump the probes, I mean, we could do that. That's not a big deal to me. We could even set up for a free return on the orbit, hopefully. Well, it depends on how much fuel we have whenever we actually get to the moon. If we have enough fuel to get into orbit, we should have enough fuel to get home, as long as we don't land with Jebediah's. Well, we're not going to land with Jebediah's stage, but if we have more than a half a tank of fuel after we get into orbit around the moon, that's more than enough to get home. That's playing it safe. So we should be perfectly fine. I think we're in orbit now. Hold on. We are. Awesome. So let's fast forward to our apoaps and circularize this orbit a little bit, just to make myself feel better, so we don't end up back into the atmosphere like so. So let's pull that up. Whoa. Pointing in the wrong direction. There we go. Let's get it up to about, where are we at? 98. Let's get this up to about 85. Yeah, roughly. Close enough. Don't mind this, because I can't use it. Alright, so I am going to mess around with the encounter, and I will bring you guys back whenever we start heading out to the moon. I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, we are back, and we have a encounter with the moon. We actually ran out of our big stage, unfortunately. But I don't think it'll take much fuel to actually get into orbit around the moon. I have the node to go down to almost 27 kilometers around the moon. So hopefully the moon will grab us, and it won't take much to actually get into orbit around it. So even if we have to go into a highly eccentric orbit, that's perfectly fine as long as we don't use a lot of our fuel. Um, we should be perfectly fine. Basically, I just want to get into an orbit that's good enough. And basically, what we can do is we can drop one probe when we're at our lowest point, which is our periapse. Once we're at our lowest periapse, we can drop one probe, do a big orbit, and then come back and drop the second probe and land that too. So that'll give us time to actually land the probes individually and gather some science while the spacecraft or Jebediah is actually going on his highly eccentric orbit. And it looks like it's going to give me a trajectory or away from the Kerbal, but I think we'll be okay. So we're going to go ahead fast forward, and it switches to that. But I have a feeling that I've had this happen to me before. But it'll actually, once you get close enough to the moon it'll switch back over to the actual encounter. So I'm not too worried. As soon as we get pretty close, it should switch us back over, hopefully. There it is. That's what happens. The moon grabs us and then pulls us in. So we're going to set up a node here and slow ourselves down, it actually shouldn't take my 24-second burn. That's awesome. That shouldn't take any fuel realistically. So what I really want to do is put a probe on the poles, but I think I'm going to avoid that until another time. So we're going to actually try to straighten out this guy a little bit, and my phone's going off. Straighten out this guy a little bit, and that is a pretty decent orbit. It's a little eccentric and weird, but it's definitely doable. Not too concerned with it. So we are going to go ahead and just quick save real quick and get into orbit around the moon with these probes and hopefully gather a lot of science from it. So let's get ready to let's find our node before we get close here. And I was smart and put reaction wheels on it this time, so it actually is very responsive in space, which is nice. I don't need RCS yet, so I don't have a big enough. We aren't making big enough space craft for us to actually need RCS fuel yet, or RCS thrusters. So let's get close here. It's a 33-second burn. There we go. Let's start our burn now. Situated on the node here. Let's see how much fuel this is going to take. What we might actually do is just get into a nice low orbit anyways. We are in orbit now because well, actually no, we're not. It always seems like whenever the camera angle changes, it always seems to give me false hope that I'm in orbit. So we're going to actually bring this down to probably pretty low. Probably bring it down to like, I don't know. Let's actually wait till let's get rid of this node. Wait till our apoapse. Actually, let's point in our retrograde here. There it is. And wait till our apoapse and then kind of circularize this orbit a bit. Make myself feel better. Bring it down now. Still have plenty of fuel, so we should be perfectly fine to bring this orbit nice down, so it's not so eccentric. It's 27,000 meters. Let's bring this down to about 50. Actually, let's cut our engines now. Fast forward a little bit more, so our apoapse, or our periapse rather, doesn't go down any further. And then let's bring this down to about 50, roughly. 27 and 50. I am perfectly fine with that. All right, so let's actually get into. Are we in the sunlight yet, so we can actually see? No, but I mean I don't know if you guys can actually see that that well, but we'll wait. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to decouple these manually, and then we're going to decouple this guy first, switch to it, and then we are going to get this guy into orbit. Let's switch this guy over and activate that engine. There we go. And let's aim for a crater. We could probably actually land in this crater right here. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and start burning retrograde and see if we can bring ourselves down into that crater, which we shouldn't have any trouble doing. And we'll land right about there. That looks good to me. Let's do a quick save just in case. There goes our probe carrier. What else do we need to do? Let's do a observe a materials bay right now. Scientific value 75, which is not terrible. Let's extend our gears just so we don't forget about it. And hopefully the gears are symmetrical in the tripod, because last time I did a tripod and they weren't symmetrical, it was very difficult to land. Alright, so let's we should be bringing down. Alright, so let's actually fast forward a bit here. Get her down to a reasonable altitude here. Retrograde, and we're going to probably end up doing a suicide burn, so we don't use, I mean, I doubt we'll need to, but that's the most efficient way, is to suicide burn, which is burning at the last second to lose all of your velocity. So we're actually not going to do that. We're going to probably just slow ourselves down a bit here and slowly fall to the surface of the moon. Wow. So yeah, let's get this guy on the surface of the moon. Hopefully it'll go over well. Let's do another materials bay. Transmit that data. Oh, actually, I'm gonna transmit it. Transmit data. Whoa, we are slowing down way more than I thought we were. I wasn't even paying attention there. So whoa. That reaction wheel really helps, I'll tell you that much. Wow, we actually started going the other way. Wow, I was not paying attention at all. I'm really good at not paying attention, aren't I? Oh, man. We might have just screwed this probe. So let's do that. And then we should be falling straight down now. And we should be good. We're about 9 kilometers above the surface. We don't have any lights on this thing because I didn't think it would be necessary, because I wanted to land in the daylight anyways, so you guys could actually see what's going on. I know whenever it's nighttime, whenever I'm watching Let's Plays, it seems that you just can't see what's going on half the time. Let's transmit data. And let's fast forward, because this is taking a minute. I'm not going that fast yet, so. This little engine can produce quite enough thrust to stop this probe from crashing into the surface. Make sure that this guy is as straight up and down as we can possibly make it. Hopefully land on somewhat of a flat surface. That would be extremely helpful. Where's our shadow? Our shadow should be over here somewhere. Oh my god, the phone. There's the shadow. Wow, this reaction wheel really helps. Oh, coming a little fast. Oh no! Oh! Oh no! The only thing that broke was the transmitter. Ah, damn it all to hell. What? How is that the only thing that broke? Oh, man. Alright, so what's going to happen? Actually, no, we can't even do anything with this. This probe is now useless to us. Son of a bitch. Like, what? how I don't even, what I don't know. I don't want to know. Whatever. We have another probe. Let's use let's get the other probe and oh no, not that button. Let's go get the other probe and try this again. Oh man. I just can't win. I just can't win sometimes, guys. Wow. All right, let's see. Let's see where we can land this second backup probe, I guess it is now. Oh, jeez. Let's I feel like I should just land it in that same crater just to cover that crater. Oh, man. Yeah, so let's fast forward and let's try this again. Oh, man. I could reload the quick save, but I really don't want to. I just would rather play it as it lies. Jeez. All right, so let's wait till about right about there. Probably good. And then disconnect the second try here. Let's see, decouple. Switch to that guy, and then activate the engine. Like so. And let's see if we can bring her down in that crater as well. Second try. It was a good design too. I could have had lots and lots of science, but I guess that's just the way that it's gonna play today. Not gonna reload the quick save because that just I don't know. I don't want to. So let's bring this down in the same crater. Let's do another quick save and try this again. Alright, let's bring her down. Bring her down there. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Wow. That's embarrassing. Oh well. those reaction wheels apparently really work. So that's good. Let's put our gears down. And let's start losing some of this horizontal velocity here. We'll probably end up setting another set of probes out here to explore more craters because that one was completely useless. This mission is not exactly an entirely, or not entirely a fail, but 50% of it is a fail right now. So I don't even. Wow, I can't believe I did that. I'm still. Wow, I'm sorry. I am sorry, guys. Let's see if we can bring this puppy down to a nice, soft landing. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Let's actually burn all the horizontal velocity off here. Let's see if we can land on a flat spot. Alright. Remember, the reaction wheels are very touchy, apparently. Alright. What we probably can do, though, with this probe is we probably lift it off and land it in a different biome and get more science that way. As long as we don't break off this transmitter, we should be fine. Alright, where's our shadow? It should be coming up pretty quick, actually. Because... oh, there it is. Hopefully this is not a hill, or at least not a hill to the point where I can't land softly. Man, that engine is strong. I was thinking about flying that other one back down to Kerbal and landing it, but it doesn't have any parachutes, so that kind of wouldn't work. Alright, let's see. See if we can land softly. 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 Very softly. Very softly. There we go. Look at that. Alright. Second time's the charm now, I guess. Not the third time, it's the second time. Alright, so let's get some science. Let's see how much science we can actually get. 100 science. So we get 20 science from this. The fine dust of the moon has intermixed with some of the samples. You have a sneaking suspicion that they'll never be able to get the lab clean again. Sure. Alright, so let's spam some of this science here. Oh, jeez. I can't believe I screwed that first probe up. That was fun. So basically, this is just going to be spam science until we can't spam science anymore, and then this probe will be useless to us. We could actually probably fly it back into Kerbin's atmosphere and have it burn up, so we don't leave any trash behind. Um, Actually, no. What we're going to do is we're going to keep this one on the surface, and we're going to fly to a different biome and get more science that way. But as of right now, for this episode, I think that for the probes right now, we're going to be done with the probes for this second. But we'll probably end up taking that broken probe and flying it back to Kerbin. It should have more than enough fuel to do that because it's so light. It should have plenty of fuel to at least get into the Kerbin atmosphere and get pulled down to the point where it'll blow up in the atmosphere and dissipate. And see how much science we ended up with. Actually, might have enough science to unlock another tree or another couple pieces of parts. Hopefully, we'll have enough to get 170 science total. That is actually not bad. So let's see if we can get 160 science. Look at that, and we can get the tucked away solar panels. Now, do we want those for sure? As of right now, those look like our best option. Yeah, those are definitely our best option. So that's what we'll do. We'll grab these, an extra battery, and 4 different tuck-away solar panels. And that'll be it for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked what you saw, please hit that like button. Subscribe in case you haven't already. You should probably do that. But thanks, guys, for watching. I really appreciate it. And next episode, what we're probably gonna end up doing is getting a manned mission on the moon. We'll probably take Bill or Bob. I think Jebediah needs a break. I think he's done enough missions for our space program for now. I think it's time that he takes a little bit of a vacation. So we'll probably end up using Bill or Bob. So that's probably what's gonna happen next episode, guys. We're probably gonna get a manned mission on the moon. And thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next time.